There is a new WordPress builder coming out this month, September in 2025, called Etch. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you my initial response to Etch, some of my reservations and what I think is going to do really well. But ultimately, it's not something I would be adopting at this point. And maybe I'm just going to become one of those Wallies who, didn't jump on the wagon soon enough and get a lifetime deal. But in this video, I'm going to share with you why I have a few reservations and it's not something I would move forward with at this point in time. So Etch is looking like a really great page builder for the fact that it wants to get you closer to the code. Their first statement on their website is build WordPress websites visually with none of the downsides of traditional page builders. Now that is exactly, from what I've been looking at, what they are doing. Whilst some people looking at their interface, and it's quite difficult to look at their interface because their website doesn't really have loads of great screenshots or tutorials or videos. But if you dig around and you do actually look at some of the videos on YouTube, then you'll see that there's a lot of code on screen and people will find that very intimidating. Now, they do stress here that you can build WordPress websites visually, but then you look at the interface and it's code heavy. So what's going on there? Essentially, they do have a visual page builder. And when you take time to look at it, that is a promise that is fulfilled. You can create, you have a styling panel and you can click on different buttons and it would create the code as you need it to. But you do have the option, and it is an option, to have the HTML and the CSS and the JavaScript on the screen with you. And this means that you can just jump in and manipulate that at any point. Now that's really, really cool because in page builders that we work with, the latest ones at least, I use Breakdance currently. The code is it is behind a barrier, and you might have little portals or windows where you can put in some custom CSS or some JavaScript or add in a code block in the case of Breakdance. But you're not actually in touch with the code that's created. So in that sense, Etch is really doing something quite unique there, and it's closer to the ideals of being, code first and being an actual web developer. But there still is that opportunity to design visually as you put the site together. So all of that is quite interesting, I have to admit, but it's not something that I feel is going to really catch on for the majority of people that are going to create websites. Now, the first thing I'd say there is, before they say it to me, is that that's not who they're going for. If you jump onto features, you'll see this attitude is starting to reveal itself in Etch, creators and therefore in their community. Features built for you, not Aunt Carol. And what they're referring to there is the nature of page builders and those creating with page builders being something of a community of people that don't really understand web development. Now that's a really good point, because one of the big problems for web design in the past, say 10 years specifically, is that pretty much anybody can put a website together. We've got Wix and Squarespace and Shopify saying you don't need a web designer, do it yourself. And it's all visual drag drop page builders, which have really changed the industry. It means that anybody can put a website up. Now, whether or not it handles accessibility well, or whether it actually handles any level of code well, or whether the code is bloated, well, we all know the answer to that. Page builders generally have to bloat up code because they're trying to work with a user interface and use that to enable the user interface. So I understand the sentiment here. Features built for you, not Aunt Carol. So we're saying, hey, we're real web developers, and we know how to code, we know how to do it properly, and that's what Etch is for. The problem I have with that is that I started here 20 years ago. This is the exact site where I started taking myself through every tutorial. I did each one of them 2 or 3 times. I took myself through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I got my little certificates. And once I'd done that, I started to put websites together for clients. So I was selling websites that I was hand coding, and it was through a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and stress at a screen. Great learning experience, and certainly one where I share the sentiment with these guys. Okay, web dev, coding, you need to understand all of it in order to do the best job possible. But now I use page builders, and I've often felt that that lumps me in with Aunt Carol, or the nephew who built his uncle's plumbing website. I don't look any different to those, even if I started from better beginnings. But there's a reason why I'm now using page builders. There's a reason why page builders are really dominating the market. And one of those is that Squarespace, Shopify, Wix, they made visual web development or web design commonplace. Not only did it take the ability to create a website straight to the business owner, so if you want to save a buck, you can do it yourself. It might look shit and it might not perform very well, but you can get the result you think you need. It did that for one thing. The other thing it did is that it made it possible for Aunt Carol to have a side web design business, or like I said before, the nephew who made his uncle's website to then start a little agency and start making websites for other people. Again, the code might be bloated because they're using a visual drag and drop or Wix. It might not perform very well. The customer journey might be rubbish, and they might not be using all of the dynamic features that they could. But they are functioning in the sphere, in the business sphere. And here's the problem. From what I've seen on the interface, on the demo videos for Etch, the workflow is not so quick. It is a more complicated workflow, and the results from what I've seen on the videos, I've not seen anything that's, I don't know if this is built with Etch. I've not seen anything that's, sort of wow factor. And that, unfortunately, a big heroes section, a nice animation, that is what appeals to, unfortunately, 80 to 90% of business owners. Now, I'm not saying that this doesn't have a place. I think this is a move in the right direction. I really, really do. But there was a time when I knew how to use all of this. I was well practiced. I was sharp. I also used PHP because I was making my own Joomla templates and things like that. Once I moved into Joomla, away from hand coding everything, I started to use Joomla, but I created my own templates and some of my own plugins. But there's a reason why I got out of practice with all this, and that's because the people that were paying the money, who wanted business websites, didn't want that complexity. They wanted something quick. They wanted something pretty, even if they wanted to ruin the pretty by changing the colors, putting gradients, or putting their logo bigger and getting rid of white space. And more importantly, they wanted to be able to take the site over. They wanted to start handling elements of it themselves. And in that sense, I can't see that a step away from Breakdance or a visual drag drop page builder of the moment is going to help most freelancer or small agency businesses. There are occasionally some website projects which when they're brewing, when I'm taking in the, when I'm scoping them, I'm like, that isn't going to work well with Elementor. It's not going to work well with Breakdance. It wouldn't work well with Oxygen. But in that sense, I'm feeling like it wouldn't work well with WordPress. And so I need a different system altogether to fulfill that project. If I'm at that point, I feel like I wouldn't therefore use Etch. Do you see what I mean? If I'm at the point where I'm like, well, Breakdance isn't going to handle that, for how quick I can put that together, for how well they do optimize code as much as a page builder can, I think Etch might be able to do it better, but I think there's a longer workflow, a more complicated workflow, and I can't hand that over to other people, different people on the team. There are lots of drawbacks to small agency and freelancers when it comes to using something like Etch. So again, just to quickly clarify that, there's workflow being quick and easy. There's the site being good enough for most of the business clients that we have, and in order to tick off the things that they feel are important. There's the priceability, priceability is a new word, which I'm going to come to in a second, and there's the ability to put it into either the client's hands or the team members' hands, or hand it back to the designer. There are some people that I do design, they do the design work, I develop the site, and then I hand it back for them, and they work with their clients. That's white labeling work on my part. I'm not seeing that with Etch. For all of the features, I'm not seeing visuals of this. I'm not seeing lots on their YouTube channel. That helps me feel like this is going to be a good workflow or something I can hand on. And a lot of these are ideals, which I held. I used to hold them when I was this guy, but I got nudged out of the market, and now I'm a page builder wanker, just because that's what the market was calling for 90% of the time. Again, if there are custom projects that need to step outside of the page builder capabilities, I would step outside of WordPress, which means that Etch is not the correct system, I feel, at this point. So, okay, those are some of my initial reservations, but then we come down to some of the practical ones, which, again, as I've said, I've not found many tutorials on this. I've looked at their own website. I've seen some of Kevin's walkthroughs, live videos. Kevin's the guy that created Etch. And again, I agree with everything he says. I do agree with everything he says about knowing code, understanding it, becoming better, learning the basics before you step into using a tool and doing shortcuts. I absolutely agree with Kevin, and I agree with why he's made this. And the team has developed it. I think there's 11 people who are working on this. But I'm not seeing how I could take this into my freelance side of work or into the agency. I've just talked them around to going into Breakdance, speaking with the higher ups than myself. And I can't see how this is going to work with the agency model. Now, for one thing, it's looking at the price. Now, obviously, this is a lifetime deal at the moment. There's no free trial. There's no way that I can just very easily download it, have a go, get in the interface, get confident, start to love it, and create a bit of something that I feel is giving me hope. I want to get excited about it, but it's behind a paywall, and I'm not paying that to have a go. No way. One of the things here is that for WooCommerce integration, you have to be at the agency model. So I'm unsure of how that's going to work. After September, after the initial launch and everything like that. But yeah, but that's WooCommerce integration. But that's a starred feature, which these features are not currently available, but are planned for the near future. Do not expect these features to be available right away. Again, I'm completely on board with doing something new, trying it, launching it, and taking it somewhere. But the pricing is quite severe for something that isn't actually out of the gate yet. WooCommerce integration and even just the solid promise of it, I feel like that's quite necessary before committing to to that kind of price. I can jump on Framer right now and Webflow, and I can start to have a play within minutes. I could be doing that at no real expense. Even this, if I buy it and then don't like it, I would have to pay 5% so they can handle the refund. Now again, that's nothing to do with the page builder or the ideals or how great a product it might be, but it's a barrier. And I don't think it's a clever one at this stage in the game, because there aren't lots of pictures, videos, things to get me excited. Every video that I've found has been only creating just a light sort of hero section without full styling. I don't know the capabilities of this builder. I'm seeing lots of ideals, and I'm getting called Aunt Carol, and I'm a little bit insulted because, again, I started here and the industry has pushed me into page builders, I really want to know why I should step out of it, aside from like when I'm speaking to, aside from somebody saying, you're fucking lousy. Your maker's a flat pack from IKEA. God, that's shit. You should learn how to go down, cut a tree, prepare the wood, blah, 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 blah. Make your own fucking table. Yeah, I get it. We should be skilled. I want to go out there and hunt something and butcher it and prepare the food. I want to go fishing and gut the fish, not just go and buy a pre-packed one from Tesco. I get it. But tell me how I'm going to monetize that properly with your price range, and tell me how. Show me, convince me. I wanted to be convinced. I got excited. I must be honest. But yeah, at the moment, I'm seeing ideals, which again I agree with, but I can't make it work at this point. So I wish you all the best. I will keep a very keen eye. I have to ask the question, why in WordPress? It seems like you could build something a bit separate here. So really, to summarize, I love that there's something else being built. I love that it's closer to ideals, that it's about learning for yourself, the true skills behind, the tools. And I'm really on board with that. The whole thing of my recent videos was that Elementor and Divi before that failed and died, and suddenly we had to go and find another tool and make new promises to clients. My current promise to clients is I'm using Breakdance, and it's currently the best that you're going to find in terms of a builder, and it has loads of pluses. But the downside of using these tools is that you are dependent upon them. And to have your own core skills and have them sharp and usable at any moment means that you are independent, you're strong, and you're capable. Also, you're actually able to better judge the tools around you as for being a better outcome. Now, again, page builders, they have drawbacks. They are bloated code. You're forever fighting in terms of performance. You've got to work harder with accessibility. Personally, the mess last year with WordPress just made me go, okay, what else is out there? And of course, it's always a thought of like, can you just create your own? But in my line of work, I am a freelancer. I do white label work, but then I also head up a web department for a marketing agency, and all of the clients that I see really coming in 90% of the time. So the lifeblood of the business is fast work, as good as you can work, best performance, but it has to be something that you can pass on to others. I often have templates or themes or sites that are coming from other developers who have taken more of a raw approach, and the reason why they have lost the client is because the client can't sign in and change their own site, and that's what they expect to be able to do these days. In fact, a recent client that was onboarded, it was specifically because the site was completely hand coded and they couldn't go in and change it themselves. So they were asking me to do that. I did a few jobs, and then it was like, hey, if this is a priority for you, this can be rebuilt in a page builder using WordPress. And they're really happy with their site, and they're not going to leave anytime soon. So that's where we have to sort of balance up between our ideals, our core skills, and the tools that we're going to use. Great ideals, but how far will they go? I wish I could have tested this out for myself. I really do. But these prices, they don't work, unfortunately, in my view. Not for me, at least. Okay, so if you are looking around for a page builder to use, and you choose Breakdance, well, I would suggest that you do go and check out Breakdance, obviously. After trying many different page builders and solutions for a website, I would definitely promote the idea of you using Breakdance. Go to breakdance.com. And yes, I have an affiliate link, but that's not at all why I'm suggesting this is the solution. But what they do have is a free version, so you can test out the interface. You can test out 80 out of 100 of the 45 of the elements. You can get a feel for it, and then you've got this pricing, which really does work out quite well. Now, you can build that into a project fee quite easily. £99 a year, that's just something you can roll into a project fee quite easily without having to make a lump sum and then try and get that back by onboarding clients. Obviously, you can't knock this one. Unlimited websites, £199 a year, off you go. That works really well for me as well. If you would like to learn how to build a business website with Breakdance, then pop along to learnwebdesignandbusiness.co.uk, and you're going to be able to build up this website. Now, this is a 5-page website. It's a great offering to any local business that's service-based, for example. So plumbers, electricians, they get a homepage, about page, a service listing page, and a page for their reviews and contact us. Great call to action. This is a really great offer for local businesses. It onboards them as a client. You give them a 5-page website as a foundation offering. You can charge, 500 to £1,000 if for this website alone, and then you are their web person. So this is a really great website to offer local clients. It's a foundation level website, so it's easy to build, and you can learn how to build that at learnwebdesignandbusiness.co.uk. So just check the link in the description below, and there's probably a voucher code there for you as well, so you can get a reduction on this £99 price. I'll leave that with you, but that's going to start off your web design career using Breakdance. Okay, if you've liked this video, please like and subscribe. I'd really love conversation on this one. Tell me if I'm right, wrong. Tell me if I'm somewhere in the middle. What is your web design experience? What page builder do you use? And why do you use it? Why do you think it's the one that works for you at this point in time? Okay, cool. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.